is a battle that has been brewing in our own backyards for several months now, and it just keeps getting larger. Energy companies are racing to build natural gas pipelines through the heart of Virginia.
Yeah, a lot of them. And those in favor say the pipelines are going to bring jobs and tax revenue. Those opposed say they could just ruin the very land that makes Virginia special. Dave Walls has been investigating this for us for several months now, and has part one of his special report, Virginia Pipeline Battleground. Dave?
Yeah, Noreen, it should come as no surprise that people around here take a lot of pride on where they live. So again, it comes as no surprise that the plans for these natural gas pipelines that would be built from our region, from West Virginia right down through Central and Southwest Virginia, they've gotten a very strong and emotional response. But there's much more than pride on the line. For counties and towns, it's their potential tourism. For residents, it's a battle for their own property. Well, tonight we look at the plans and the fight over property rights that continues. And our report starts where one of the pipelines would begin. This is Mill Creek, West Virginia, a small town of around 700 residents in Randolph County. On this day, the peace and quiet is being disturbed by an impending storm, not in the skies, but in the ground below.
Like me, I'm a landowner here in Mill Creek, and I have a right to know what's going to happen. But you, my dear, are the ignorant one.
Arguments like this are popping up around the region as energy companies race to build pipelines through West Virginia, North Carolina, and more. Currently, there are 3 pipelines proposed to run through the Commonwealth. Dominion Power's Atlantic Coast Pipeline stretches through Augusta, Buckingham, and Nelson counties. EQT Energy's Mountain Valley Pipeline would run through Roanoke County on its way to Pittsylvania County. Last month, the Williams Company announced plans for a third project, the Western Marcellus. It too would run through Roanoke, then into Franklin County, also ending in Pittsylvania County. Markers like this are the beginning of the 550-mile Atlantic Coast Pipeline. The pipeline would start just north of here in Harrison County. The pipe then would swing down through this field, through the town of Mill Creek, West Virginia, and down into Virginia through Nelson County, and then moving on finally into North Carolina. Dominion made waves with the Atlantic Coast Pipeline over the summer, culminating with Governor McAuliffe's endorsement in early September.
What we are going to announce today is a game changer for the Commonwealth of Virginia.
We don't really see anything good happening from this.
Constance Brennan hates the idea. As the chair of Nelson County's Board of Supervisors, Brennan joined her colleagues in passing a resolution formally opposing the construction of the Atlantic Coast Pipeline.
We know that for a couple of years during construction, there will be nothing but chaos in our county.
Brennan, along with many others in Nelson County, is worried about what the construction of the 42-inch pipeline will do to the scenic vistas that make the area popular among Nelson County tourists.
A lot of the land through which this pipeline might run is inaccessible at the present time. So what are they going to do, build roads? We don't know.
Dominion has been fighting an uphill battle with residents along the proposed pipeline from the start. It began with a pledge from Dominion's CEO to make the pipeline a partnership with residents.
We will work closely with landowners and other stakeholders to find the best possible route, one that minimizes the impact on natural, cultural, and historic resources, but still meets our operational needs.
But that statement sparked a war of words regarding property rights.
This is our home, this is our land. We will decide whether it is feasible for them to come through.
Landowners first received letters from Dominion in May asking them to allow survey crews to walk their property. That includes Jean Barroso, a retired diplomat from China. Barroso bought more than 600 acres near Mill Creek, where he and his American wife could settle with their children.
I just fell in love with West Virginia because, it's rugged, it's wild, and I just love it.
It's land Dominion desperately wants to survey. Over several months, Jean engaged in a back and forth, a tug of war for information with Dominion and their survey contractors. In emails, Barroso repeatedly asks for, quote, a clear description of the survey, meaning what will be done on my property, end quote. However, the only responses Jean receives repeatedly say, quote, he should be receiving a letter soon and they still need to access the property. Barroso says the lack of openness concerning the scope of surveying work should concern others.
The only way I can interpret this is they are not playing fair. They are not being open about what they're doing.
Numbers released by the energy companies, however, say most landowners have been willing to work with the companies. On Dominion's website, they say 78% of landowners who received survey requests have complied. EQT Energy's Natalie Cox says those numbers along the Mountain Valley Pipeline are even higher at 82%. While Cox understands the concerns of landowners, she says surveying is the time for people to talk directly with them and make their voices heard.
Because once we walk the property and understand how they would want us to treat their land, what they would want us to stay away from, that's until we walk it, we don't understand their concerns.
Some landowners, however, are standing their ground, and the fight has gotten ugly. Dominion announced earlier this month it's moving forward with lawsuits against 189 property owners here in Virginia who have denied surveyors access to their land. Of those 189, 97 are in Nelson County. Brennan is asking all landowners on the pipeline route to keep up the fight for the sake of her county.
They need to hear from everybody who has an interest in this. Whether or not the pipeline comes through your property, we'll all be affected.
Now, tomorrow night in Part 2, we take a look at the dollars and cents behind these projects. Will these pipelines actually create jobs for Virginians? I talked to Governor McAuliffe and the energy companies themselves. Len, Noreen, there's just still a lot of questions that have left to be answered.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, Dave, good job on this, by the way. Now, listen, safety's an issue here as well. Where are we right now on this process? What's the next step in this pipeline building process?
Sure, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission has the sole authority to approve these projects, and Dominion's already moving forward by filing for approval of the Atlantic Coast Pipeline. Now, this is also the time FERC hears comments and concerns from the public regarding these projects. Now, you can make your voice heard by leaving a comment for FERC, and we've got a link to that comment form at WSCT.com.
The race is on to build 3 natural gas pipelines through the heart of Virginia. Residents still have an awful lot of questions about it.
And concerns about money, jobs, and the safety of a natural gas pipeline running through essentially your backyard. Dave Walls is live now with Part 2 of his report, Virginia Pipeline Battleground. Dave, is there a real benefit to having these pipelines come through?
Well, that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? You know, one of the biggest supporters of Virginia's proposed pipelines has been Governor Terry McAuliffe. Now, his stamp of approval for the Atlantic coastline came as a surprise to environmental activists who had considered him an ally. So why has McAuliffe given his full support to pipeline construction? The energy companies say the lines will bring jobs and revenue. So far, all the pipelines have brought is a lot of confusion and concern.
Today is really an exciting day for the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Governor McAuliffe was all smiles on September 2nd as he stood side by side with executives from Dominion Power endorsing the Atlantic Coast Pipeline. McAuliffe and Dominion CEO Tom Farrell touted the riches Virginia will reap thanks to the ACP.
The benefits of the project to the Commonwealth are clear. Thousands of construction jobs, $5 billion in privately funded capital investment.
The numbers Farrell quotes come from a report conducted by the Chamorro economics firm in Richmond. In the Chamorro report, funded by Dominion, construction spending on the Atlantic Coast Pipeline through 2019 would directly support just under 5,000 jobs, with an additional 3,800 jobs supported indirectly, things like vendors or suppliers. That's around $1.4 billion in spending in Virginia alone. But how many of these jobs will actually be filled by Virginians?
We imagine that they would be bringing in their engineers and construction people that know how to do this. I don't think we have a great wealth of people here in Nelson County who know how to build a pipeline.
Natalie Cox from EQT Energy, the company behind the Mountain Valley Pipeline, doesn't try to dispute that.
It's true. In any type of major construction process, particularly in pipelines, there is a need for specialized, highly technical skill set that could come from out of state.
While that may be EQT's plan, Governor McAuliffe insists local workers will be working on Dominion's pipeline.
Local jobs. Oh, no. I've had long discussions with Dominion. These are going to be local jobs. I've been very insistent on that.
Local or not, workers will be on the pipelines. But for how long? The Chamorro report says once the Atlantic Coast Pipeline is operational in 2019, the number of jobs plummets from 5,000 workers to just 39 directly working on the pipeline.
You know, it was misleading, I think, in a certain respect, because sure, there may be some jobs initially during the construction phase. After that, what jobs?
Governor McAuliffe looks at it in a different way. During a stop in Appomattox earlier in the month, McAuliffe said the pipelines give Virginia an advantage in recruiting companies to the Commonwealth.
But what it will allow me to do as governor, just like what we're doing here, I can compete against any manufacturing company in the globe and bring them, any country, and bring them here to Virginia.
While in Appomattox, the governor boasted about what pipelines can do, but the people here already know. In 2008, a gas pipeline from Williams Company exploded, shooting flames into the sky, leaving the earth scorched and leveling 2 nearby homes.
It looked like it was coming at you. It was going to consume you any second.
Williams was fined almost $1 million for negligence. In this instance, amazingly, no one was hurt. EQT says modern pipeline science will keep lines, like their Mountain Valley, from deteriorating like the one in Appomattox did in 2008.
But once the pipeline is operational, we've got state-of-the-art technologies that monitor in real time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that's just simply to make sure that if we need to react, we can react quickly.
Jean Barroso, a retired Chinese diplomat, had planned to move his family to West Virginia, right along the proposed route of the Atlantic Coast Pipeline. His idea of the American dream, he says, is being overrun by Dominion, and he doesn't see a happy ending for his family.
I don't think I'm going to risk moving my family to the land. That land for me, if that happens, is condemned. So yeah, if Dominion comes across and tells me I'll buy the whole property, okay, I'll consider that. But other than that, this is a disaster as far as I'm concerned.